Happy Friday, folks. Welcome back to CAA Football's 12 Teams in 12 Days Countdown, presented by Geico. Tim McDonald joins me. Bobby Broyles here. And today we take a look at the defending conference champions, New Hampshire. A truly special season for the Wildcats in 2014 as they entered the playoffs as the #1 overall seed and finished just short of a trip to Frisco. UNH lost a lot of senior leadership, but it does return an experienced quarterback in Sean Goldrich, who seems at times to get overlooked in this league.
Yeah, leading up to the New Hampshire preview, I'm looking around the conference, and we've talked so much about the importance of quarterback. You really look around the league.
Yeah.
Villanova and New Hampshire are really the only guys who return quarterbacks who have played consistently, at least for the most part, for 4 years. He joins John Robertson, and Sean Goldrich is it's really a great attribute to have for New Hampshire this year. You look at a lot of the key pieces that they lose on offense. You lose a guy in Nico Storetti, who played a lot of football, Harold Spears, who was a great tight end, R.J. Harris, who is now the all-time leading receptions for the university. So you look at the offense, and it's a great, if you're building and you're trying to find new pieces, it's great to have Sean Goldrich back. Looking back, it was a special season for New Hampshire. It was a great year, and you think about all the teams in CAA football history, there's only been a few who have gone undefeated. And New Hampshire, has the chance to say that they did that. Now, of course, there's some unfinished business. There's a little bit of a sense around this team of, yes, we've now reached the playoffs. Everyone knows how many times they've reached the playoffs. We've also reached the FCS semifinals, but it's almost like there's another step that still needs to be done for this program.
Yep.
Just talking about Goldrich, you talk about a guy last year, people forget about he missed 5 games.
Yeah.
He got injured in that Richmond game, really didn't come back until November. Still managed to rush for 9 touchdowns, threw 16 touchdowns versus 6 interceptions. So the numbers are there. I think it's just going to be a question of, can they have a player step up at the wide receiver position? Can they have a guy step up at the running back position? We know depth is going to be huge for this team. My friend Craig Haley at the FCS Stats website, he said it best. He said New Hampshire's depth is really going to determine really how much progress this program wants to keep moving forward.
Indeed, and Coach McDonald last year winning the Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year award, and like you said, it used to be the quarterfinal hump that New Hampshire couldn't get over. And now back-to-back semifinal trips.
Which it's funny to say
great,
that. Yeah, it's a good thing, but it's funny to say like they're having issues, but it really it's
they're
just
not.
another step. Yeah.
Here's head coach Sean McDonald on his quarterback.
Hope we keep him healthy. And we keep him healthy, we get a shot. He's a really good football player. And probably the best thing about Sean, he's ours. And he epitomizes UNH in every sense of the word. He's a very humble kid, very unselfish. He started as a true redshirt freshman, and has been on and off between injuries and starting back and forth. And he's led us the last year and a half, to the semifinals and done a great job. He's a heck of a football player, great leader, and a great kid.
Defensively, this UNH program has really improved the last few seasons as a complement to the traditionally high-powered offense.
I think we both can agree this is the first time in a long time when we look at a UNH team and we say, okay, this guy's going to be a 1,000-yard rusher, this guy's going to be it's really not the case. The defense this year is the key, and the defense last year really came on as of late. New Hampshire statistically wasn't along the marks of Stony Brook, and it wasn't along the marks of Maine last year, but you look at total defense, 7th, okay, pretty good. Yeah. Scoring defense, UNH actually finished 2nd in the conference, 21.2 points per game. When you look at the plays, sometimes UNH gives up big plays, but last year they were so good in the red zone. And I think we're going to see a lot of that this year. We look at a returner in Casey DeAndrade, who's probably one of the better cornerbacks in this league now, and a guy who can lock down the opposing team wide receivers. You look at Akeel Anderson, who's going to be a senior. He's a captain. He has a chance this year for the 3rd straight year to lead his team in tackles. Last year he led the Wildcats in tackles. The biggest question mark for New Hampshire on defense is going to be that line. You lose a guy like Matt Kaplan up front. You lose a guy like Cody Mueller up front. There's a lot of pieces on the line that need to be fixed. I think the good thing for New Hampshire is they have depth in the secondary. You look at Keith Parkinson, Hayden Knudsen, a lot of guys come back. It's going to be interesting to see, can we see UNH flip the page and have the defense be the leadership of this team and not the offense? It's always been the other way around. You know that as long as we've been around this conference. I'm really interested to see if the defense can take that step and prove leadership and show its capabilities for the offense and say, hey, we can take care of this, don't worry.
Coach McDonald spoke highly of his defense when we met with him at Media Day.
I believe they got to be a strength for our team, and the back half of our defense is pretty good. Casey's a terrific corner, terrific return kid, very good all-around football player. Keel Anderson will anchor the second level there. We've got a couple kids, Devon Shillette and Ryan Farrell, that I think are ready to take over for Shane McNeely, the guy who just left in all-conference. And then our interior defensive linemen, our two seniors, Rashid Arman and Julian Turner, they got to set the tone up front. The defense, I think, has got to help us early, to help our young guys on the offense settle into playing in the toughest league in the country, And I know we got good players, just got to figure out how they're going to hit the hot water, how they're going to do it.
Tim, this program looks to make its 12th straight year in the FCS playoffs, a remarkable run that we've witnessed. Now breaking down New Hampshire's 2015 schedule, I want to look at some matchups, opponents that the Wildcats have been, tested them a little bit over the years, all of which will be on CAA Football's TV schedule. First, their conference opener at Stony Brook, an October date at William & Mary, and then a national NBCSN game against Richmond and Durham.
Very intriguing. I love the schedule makers at CAA Football. You look at those three opponents, all kind of want payback from last year. You look at Stony Brook, a game that they were in versus New Hampshire at UNH. They lost that game late. William & Mary just didn't show up at New Hampshire a year ago. They certainly want revenge, and they're going to get a chance at home. And then, of course, Richmond. That's going to be a nationally televised game. That's going to be an awesome contest. And, again, Richmond and New Hampshire, whenever we know the scoreboard's going to be lit up in that game, that's going to be awesome to showcase, especially we know New Hampshire's building a new stadium, too, so the skeleton of the stadium, it won't be done until next year, but at least we'll see it in the background for that game.
Like an appetizer.
Yep. But you look at this New Hampshire schedule, and, looking back to Illinois State, the playoff loss last year, if you think to New Hampshire and you think back to non-conference success. When New Hampshire has had good teams, they've taken care of business, especially at home. That loss to Illinois State was the first non-conference loss in Cowell Stadium since 2005 to Northern Iowa. So it just shows how important non-conference games, especially at home, have been for New Hampshire. Now they only get Central Connecticut State at home for the non-conference portion of the schedule. That's a late September game. You look at the start, though, at San Jose State, a team who didn't have a great year at the FBS level last year, but again, it's an FBS game. Not to mention it's a 10 o'clock Eastern start because it's on the West Coast.
Patrick bedtime.
Yeah, it is. And then the next two are also on the road. You head to Colgate in upstate New York, and then you head to Stony Brook. And that Stony Brook game, to have another conference opener with so much on the line that early, it's going to be really exciting because both teams can make great strides with that. But again, for New Hampshire, we know the playoff success, and we know the type of success and the program that New Hampshire has. We're going to see a lot of new faces this season, especially younger guys who haven't got their chance to shine yet. That's why I'm excited to look forward to see what happens with this New Hampshire team. It's just it's another year, but it's another time to see what the program's made of, I think.
Absolutely. New Hampshire goes back to Cali. They're heading out to the West Coast for its season opener against FBS opponent San Jose State on Thursday night at 10 o'clock. Like you said, it's going to be a late night for you, Tim.
Yeah, it's going to be a late one, a little bit past my bedtime. I can admit that. That's fine.
Especially by that fourth quarter.
CAA Football met with a pair of Wildcat players at Media Day. Actually, we met with Sean Goldrich and Akeel Anderson, and you can check out those interviews now on our Everyday is Saturday blog at caafootball.wordpress.com.
2 teams remain in our 12 teams in 12 days series presented by Geico. Tim and I return Monday as we preview JMU as the Dukes get ready for their second season under head coach Everett Withers. This is last weekend without CAA football. Enjoy it, everyone.